guys, so interesting video for you today. I wanted to take a look at some of the most unique products that have been released in hockey in recent times and also as far back as I can remember. Remember, I know a lot of you have been in the game a lot longer than I have, so you might have access or know about products that I might not know about. If you feel like I've missed any out or there's some that you feel like I might not know about, please comment down below and let me know what those are. But in this video, we're going to take a look at some of the most unique, wacky, weird, strange products released in hockey, whether they worked or whether they didn't. I just kind of want to look back. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this video format. And of course, before we jump into the video, make sure that you thumbs up because it helps bring more eyes to the channel. Consider leaving a comment down below and also consider subscribing, completely free, and it helps the channel to grow. It gives us more access to products, more access to manufacturers to be able to go to some of these cool locations and film dope content for yourselves. So consider giving a thumbs up, leaving a comment down below, and also subscribing. But let's jump into the video. And quick side note, I'm wearing this Titan hat for a reason. If you're familiar with the brand Titan, wait until we get to the end of the video because I want to share something with you because I filmed a video about Titan that I don't think a bunch of you saw. So we'll talk about that towards the end of the video, but let's jump in. Now, the first product I want to take a look at is going to be Thermoblades. Now, these were a holder and blade system that had a bunch of cables and circuitry inside the holder, a sensor you could turn off and on, a port to charge, and what they did was heat up the blade so it would glide through the ice better. Now, essentially how a skate blade works is when it comes into contact with the ice, it creates friction, and that essentially creates a very thin or micro layer of water between the blade and the ice, and that's what you essentially glide on while you're skating. But essentially what these Thermoblades were trying to do was make that process better, more efficient, and how that would benefit you as a player is because the blade was heating up itself and it didn't, just rely on the friction to get it gliding through the ice, it would glide better with less energy, less effort needed to be able to get the blade to glide. Now that would benefit players in terms of fatigue towards the ends of periods or shifts on the ice, but more importantly, when the ice gets chewed up, the blade would also still glide much better than a conventional hockey blade. Now, I think these were retailing for like $3.99. I'm not going to be able to remember the prices of every single thing we touch on in the video, but let me know what you thought about them if you think it's something that was worthwhile. I know Wayne Gretzky was heavily involved in that company. He was an investor. Now, they're not around today, but the concept kind of makes sense when you look at it on paper. A lot of things make sense, but they're not always adopted by the hockey community very well. So let me know what you think about those. Should they come back? Because I know some of you do know this, I have a second YouTube channel for electric longboards. I'm a big fan of very, very fast longboards. If you've seen my arms where I've got scars all over myself, that's why. But that uses battery technology. And over the years that I've been into electric longboarding, the battery technology has improved significantly. So I feel like those Thermoblades could be revisited because of how tech has moved on. But let me know what you think about them in the comment section. If you used them, if you saw them, let me know your opinion down below. Now, we can't talk about Thermoblades and then not talk about Tblades. Love or hate them, if you guys know what they are, I felt like people were in one category or the other. They either loved them or hated them, kind of like Marmite or Vegemite, depending on where in the world that you are. But I was kind of 50-50. The concept, again, on paper made sense. Instead of having blades sharpened, these blades, T-blades, lasted longer, so you didn't sharpen them because of how little steel was on the T-blade actual runner itself. You just took it off, got rid of it, and then put a new one in. That's how it worked. So instead of sharpening, you replaced. And because of how the holder was constructed with T-blades, it was like, the Audi logo, loads of circles together. That's what it reminds me of every time I see them. But it looked like the Audi logo, and they was far less metal on the holder and blade, which meant that the entire system was significantly lighter than what you see with a conventional blade holder and the blade itself. Now, in addition to these blades just needing to be switched out, what benefits did you get? Because there was much less steel, we talked about how a blade glides through ice earlier on. Because there was less steel, how we talked about friction on the blade, that was more efficient with T-blades. So they would glide on ice much better than a conventional hockey blade. Now, on top of that, because of how the blade was constructed, because of the thermo properties from the blade being, the metal actual portion of the blade being so little, they could also maneuver much better on the ice. So you had tighter turns, more mobility or maneuverability on the ice. And something that I always remember when I think of T-blades is a group of skaters from Hawaii. I think the YouTube channel is JEDIFARCE, JEDI F-A-R-C-E. I'd been speaking to these guys for years. I've not communicated with them for a while, but I looked before I made this video and their YouTube channel is still active. I'll link it down below. These group of Hawaiian skaters move on the ice unlike any other skaters I have ever seen. They have insane edge control. They skate like freaks. It's unreal. At some point, I have to go out there, not only to make a hockey video there, but to also just see how these skaters move in the flesh, because it's unbelievable. And there was one guy called Sky who was one of the most insane skaters I've ever seen in my life, and he used Tblades. Quite a few of them do use Tblades and still use Tblades. I'm not saying that they move this way because of Tblades, but I feel like conventional skates versus Tblades, I feel like Tblades allow them to move with a lot more agility on the ice than a conventional blade. But I'll link the video down below. I'll link their channel down below so you can check it out. Let me know what you think about Tblades. Of course, they had their advantages and disadvantages. There was a lot more parts to the Tblade system, a lot of screws. You had the blade that went into the holder, and then you had to put stabilizers onto it. But I'll link a video down below that I filmed years ago that shows you how the system is set up and how you actually connect the blades in. But let me know. Tblades, what did you think of them? I think the big thing that hockey players always remember is the sound. If I'm walking through an arena and someone's on the ice with Tblades and they go past, I don't have to look up, I can hear them. If someone's behind me with Tblades, I can hear them. Let me know what you thought about that. Let me know what you think about the entire system of Tblades. Comment down below, because I think it'd be really interesting to see if it's something you consider using. But I feel like in this day and age, how far skates have come, how far blades have come, it would be pretty cool to see Tblade partner up with one of the more known manufacturers in hockey, whether that be skate manufacturers, of course, CCM, Bauer, True, or Warrior. In terms of skate manufacturers that are current, it'd be interesting to see if they could create something more modern that might be a little bit better received by hockey players. But comment down below and let me know what you think about the Tblade system. Now from there, sticks. We have seen crazy, too many for me to remember just off the top of my head. There's been crazy shafts, crazy geometries, crazy blades with notches cut in the top of them, with holes in them, with diamond pattern holes in them. But one of the companies that really sticks out to me is going to be Tilage. I'm pretty sure it's Tilage. Correct me down in the comment section if I'm wrong. But this manufacturer of sticks made a triangular shaped shaft that kind of tapered off and then became like a regular shaft at the bottom, so you could use normal stick blades, the ones that you could disconnect and put in new ones with, the whole glue thing. But this company, I feel, was the inception for a lot of what we see today. The triangular shaped shaft was very badly received by the hockey world, but I feel like what they made next, which was a stick shaft that had kind of like a concave convex structure to it, very similar to what we see with Reeboks or essentially nowadays CCM's Ribcore range of sticks that has that concave convex where it kind of goes in and bubbles out in some areas. I'll lay over some B-roll so you see what I'm talking about, but I feel like this exists because of that Tilage company. Even the different geometries in terms of like the five-sided shapes that we see, like for example, one of the shafts that had multiple sides that we hadn't seen before, other than four, of course. One of the companies that I know introduced it in more recent times was STX. And then from there, that's kind of when we saw Bauer doing it, and then, CCM kind of doing their own thing. But I feel like all of this stems from that company, Tilage. It's one of those brands that I feel like if you know about, you know about. That triangular stick was not good, but I feel like it really did impact the world and gave a pathway for all of the crazy stuff that we see today with Elevate's bent shaft, where the stick kind of like went in a boomerang type shape. And the idea behind that was to increase the contact that you had with the puck during shooting for more accuracy, more power. There's been some crazy stuff. Bauer's had their run of stick blades that have all had holes in them or cutouts in them. Tovey Hockey with their diamond blade system that has those diamond cutout holes similar to a floorball stick, so there's less resistance while you're going through the air or winding up and taking big shots. Or even things like the Reebok O stick, which had holes in the bottom of the stick shaft. And the idea behind that was to allow, again, less drag so you could have more swing speed, hopefully more shot power and more speed behind the puck. And this construction of the bottom of the stick was stiffer, so players wouldn't be breaking it as frequently. Now, the stick broke in other areas as a result of that, but that was a pretty good stick. And I'm pretty sure Pavel Datsyuk used that stick at some point as well, which is pretty insane. But there's been so many crazy constructions of sticks. Which ones do you think have been the most successful? Which ones would you like to see brought back? And all of the sticks that I've named, how many of you have used all of them, or even the majority of them? And is there any that I've missed out? Comment down below and let me know what you think about those crazy sticks that we've seen over the last few years, and let me know which ones you'd love to see come back, which ones worked really well, and which ones just didn't work at all. Comment down below and let me know. As a side note, who remembers that stick that had a notch cut out in the top of it? Does anyone remember that? Because that was one of the craziest sticks that I had seen. Some manufacturers claimed that that was an area of the stick that no one was using, and then shortly after that stick was released, I think that's when we saw Bauer do the max height blade, and then CCM also do a similar sort of concept. So it literally went the complete opposite way. But let me know what you think about the stick that had the notch cut out in the top of it as well, because of course seeing Bauer and CCM introduce blades that are taller, so players have more surface to use, kind of conflicts with that idea. But if anyone remembers that one, let me know. And of course, all of the products that I've talked about, if we've got videos on them, I will link them down below in the video description. But yeah, let me know. A quick honorable mention is going to be the Reebok pumps. Now, I know those were kind of like, again, Marmite, Vegemite, like love-hate, where people either really got on with them or didn't see the point. I know that I broke a bunch of those pumps, but the actual bladder inside that inflates and deflates to give you that soft cushion feeling inside the skates. On multiple pairs of my skates, those went, but I still really liked them. Let me know what you thought about those. Do you think that's something that should come back, or it's something that should just be left in the past? But I had to mention those because the Reebok pump skates, I mean, those were sick, especially the white ones. I recently had a go of a pair of them at my local rink in Cambridge. One of the people that work at the rink had a pair, so I had to give him a quick go. Shout out Kirsty, thank you for letting me use those. But comment down below, let me know what you thought of those. If you remember them, if you used them, let me know your feedback. Now from there, quick chat about blades. I know we touched the Thermo blades earlier, but this is a little different. Flare blades, XC blades, Bladetech. Those are kind of like the biggest advancements in blades that I've seen. There was also meant to be some forged skate blades, which I was really looking forward to. I don't know if that's going to exist anymore, but we'll see what happens with that. But if you've not heard of flare blades, I know they're very popular in RedBull Crushed Ice. If you're unfamiliar with RedBull Crushed Ice, I doubt that you are. You probably all know what that is. I'll link a video down below where we partnered up with RedBull to go down one of their tracks, and we filmed our dry run the first time we went down. The majority of us were in brand new skates. My skates were 2 sizes too small and unsharpened. They were fresh out the box, but I had a choice. Go down in what they have right there, right now, or you'll never get that opportunity again. So of course I said yes, I went down with what I had. If you want to see that video of us completely embarrassing ourselves on that track and kind of understanding how skilled RedBull Crushed Ice athletes are, and excuse me if I think they changed the name of the sport. If they have, I'll say it over here, I'll have it on the screen here, but hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. Those flare blades are very popular in RedBull Crushed Ice because the blade, as the name suggests, flares out. It's a wider blade than what we're traditionally used to, and that offers much more stability. I'll link a video down below, and of course there'll be clips rolling so you can see what the blade looks like. And also I'll link Flare Blade's website so you can see what the blade's about. But I don't really know any hockey players that use them in games, but in terms of RedBull Crushed Ice athletes, I know a bunch of them that do that. Anyone that does anything to do with going vertically down on ice, I feel like those blades are a pretty good shout. But in addition to that, there's also XC blades, which we've had for some time. Blades that are kind of like between flare blades and regular blades, where the middle of the blade is normal, like, you know, parallel sort of lines. But as you get to the heel, it flares out, and as you get to the toe, it flares out again. This is for better ice contact, tighter turns, a little bit more improved stability, but mainly about the turns, because you can really hammer turns in these blades. If you've used them, if you've heard of them, comment down below and let me know what you think about them. And of course, I have to mention Bladetech. You guys know about Bladetech if you've been watching this channel for a while. It has not only performance benefits, but also health benefits. The front portion of Bladetech's runners flex into the holder and then kind of spring and flex out to give you a little bit of pop in your stride. This, on average, makes players 5% faster. In addition to this, it also reduces impact on your knees and your hip joints, helping you to stay active and be on the ice, playing the game that you love for a longer period of time, based on the fact that you're having less impact on your knees, ankles, and also hip joints. So these runners are phenomenal for the performance benefits and also the fact that they have health benefits as well. And of course, because these steels are some of the straightest runners on the planet. I'm not sure if people are aware of that, but you buy stainless steel or runners from manufacturers, and a lot of them are very, very bent straight out of the factory. Bladetechs are incredibly straight, some of the straightest that you can pick up on the planet. So it's definitely worth mentioning that. And of course, they're fully customizable. We've done so many videos where we show you what you can do with them: engraving, make the blades look like your favorite Marvel or DC character, team colors, country colors and flags, pretty much whatever you want. The world's your oyster with Bladetech, but my favorite is DLC, which is that chrome black finish, which has performance benefits in terms of edge retention, durability. It looks sick, and I feel like it is the perfect height for maneuverability and, you know, just generally being able to skate well with a quality pair of steel under your feet. At the end of the day, the runner is what connects us to the ice. So just like a race car having good tires, it's really important to have a good quality of blades on your skates, regardless of what level you play at. Now, from there, the next thing I have to touch on is going to be Mission Fuels or Mission's 3-finger gloves. I feel like this is something that doesn't get much airtime, but they made a 3-finger glove. The idea was that your pinky finger and your finger next to it get, you know, put together in the same compartment inside the glove. So that's better for essentially reduction in injuries, you could say, and potentially gives you better grip of the stick. Now, this is something that, again, I don't feel caught on as well as you might imagine it would. I don't know if that makes sense, but it didn't catch on very well, but I thought it was cool, and I've never seen anything like that in hockey ever again. So if you've got a pair of these or you've used them, let me know what you think of them down below. Would you use a 3-finger glove? Do you think it's something that makes sense to put these fingers together to, you know, improve your grip on the stick and not have your pinky finger in its own section kind of doing nothing? But let me know. Again, kind of on paper, makes sense, but in reality, is it practical? Does it make sense? I don't know, but you comment down below and let me know what you think, or if there's any other crazy gloves that have been out there, like True Hockey's gloves that you could unzip the palms. Remember those? Let me know what you think about that. Let me know if there's any others that I've missed out. But yeah, I had to mention those. The last one is going to be one that I feel isn't too obvious. It might not sound that crazy, but I feel like it was a very important one nonetheless, and that's going to be the Green Biscuit. Because at the time of me finding the Green Biscuit when it first launched, I think the first videos online was Jeremy from How To Hockey and myself. That puck was huge because it meant that I could go out and practice, because in England, especially when my channel wasn't really popular at all or being watched by anyone, I couldn't just go to a rink and be like, oh, let me hop on and use a stick and puck and just mess around for a little bit. That wasn't an option, and I didn't have the ability to go to the rink. I lived quite far from an arena and it wasn't easy to get there. So it meant that I could go in the front of my house or in my garden and just practice stick handling around my body, then, you know, start running and moving around while I'm stick handling, put on some inlines, learn how to skate while stick handling. That puck made a huge difference for me actually getting on the ice and playing hockey. So I feel like it's definitely one that needs to be mentioned as a very unique product. At the time, there was nothing close to the Green Biscuit. Now there's a few pucks that are out there that are arguably on par, some that might even arguably be better, which we'll touch on in a later video. But that was a huge deal. So I have to mention the Green Biscuit. I know that a lot of players out there as well would probably have benefited hugely when this puck was launched. And I know, like, things like the hockey wraparound, the original hockey wraparound that protects the bottom of your stick blade, you see comments on those videos that from people that are much older, players that are much older, saying, where was the Green Biscuit and the hockey wraparound when I was a younger player? A lot more people would have benefited from it. They would have been able to train without their parents telling them off for destroying expensive hockey sticks or from shooting rubber pucks that are bouncing uncontrollably on the ground. Those two products, the Green Biscuit and the hockey wraparound, I feel really revolutionized players being able to get outside and practice for fairly inexpensive costs, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of training gear that's out there, but some of it costs the earth. It's phenomenal, but it's very unattainable for a lot of people, and it was for me and my family when I was growing up. So those two products, Wraparound and also Green Biscuit, were a huge deal for me, so I definitely have to mention them. But guys, comment down below if there's anything you feel like I've missed, if there's any of these products that you'd love to see come back. Which ones do you feel worked? Which ones do you feel didn't work so well or didn't work at all? Let me know down below in the comment section. Of course, I'm sure there's a bunch that I've missed out or I don't know about, but if you like this video format, I'll make more of these. But thanks for watching, guys. Thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. All of the videos that I've referenced will be down below in the video description. And also, side note, like I said at the start of the video, I can't believe I remembered this in one take. The reason I'm wearing this Titan hat is because, of course, you guys know Titan, the brand of sticks that Wayne Gretzky used. I was very fortunate enough to sit down with the creator of Titan, who is one of the most interesting individuals I've ever met in my life. At the time I met him, he was in his late 90s, and he would wake up in the morning with a chainsaw. He lives in Finland, go out in the middle of winter, cut a hole in the ice, and then get in and plunge, and then get out, and then start his day in his office coming up with more ideas and products in his late 90s. This is one of the most brilliant men that I've ever met in my life, Mr. Titala, and the video down below of him telling the story of why he invented the Titan stick, because he wasn't a hockey manufacturer. He just saw something that he could make better, and he did. That video will be linked down below. It's probably one of my favorite documentaries that I've ever filmed. If you guys know the channel for product reviews, we also film hockey documentaries. We haven't done one in a while, but we'll have more coming. I'll link that one down below in the video description. I felt this hat was very relevant for this type of video, so I hope you check it out. And of course, some of the other documentaries that we filmed in the past. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.
Team Ilves in Tampere. So, in the junior ages, I used to play hockey, but later I was involved in skiing, and because team sport was not my best career, so I